Well, hello. I hope you'll welcome me back. It's been quite a while since I've done a video. I started in January, did January, February, and some of March, and then I kind of fell off due to personal issues with my health. And um, once you get out of the habit, it's hard to get back in. There goes. I've still got the guest kitties. If anybody's keeping track, I've still got the guest kitties here. So if you see this camera shaking, it's because they're right down at the base of the tripod. But I thought I'd come back and show you what I've finished, what I've been working on. I've been keeping up with crafting. I haven't done all that much more designing. Whoops, kitties, sorry. Haven't done all that much designing. Relatively little counted cross stitch. I just really, I started this because I wanted to try to draw traffic to my cross stitch designs. Nobody goes over there. So I think eventually I'm probably just going to close my site because I can't get any traffic over there, which is fine if people aren't into what I do. Here's an example of what I do. Some of my cross stitch designs that I've done. These are some of my larger favorites that I have hung up. I love them, and I thought other people would love them too and have interest in stitching them, but so far they haven't caught on, which is fine. I'll show you one little thing that I did do. There was a pin in it. I started this before I went off filming, and this is just a little collection of spring flowers. I've got my favorite bleeding hearts in there, and hopefully that's picking up a little bit. I used some outline stitches just for this pretty white dangling part. And then I've got some little yellow flowers. I've got some more clustered flowers. Just some what I like to think of as spring. I think the colors are springtime. I enjoyed doing it. There's maybe a little more outline stitching than maybe some people will want to do. You can see here I've got some blue and a darker blue that's over there. It's a long stitch, just to define it a little bit more. But I like this. It's backed with this nice blue and yellow check. Very springtime. I stuffed it with a little bit of lavender. It's mostly polyfill, but there is a little bit of lavender in here. So it smells wonderful. I may put it in a drawer eventually. Right now it's out. It's still out. We're still in spring, just barely. We're actually here in Virginia. We're fluctuating between winter and spring with a little bit of summer thrown in there. It's just back and forth and back and forth. Today is a very gloomy, rainy day. The windows are closed. The other day it was beautiful, beautiful, warm sunshine. I had all the windows thrown open. The birds were singing. I was out in the garden. I've actually got a very big lavender plant that's almost ready to harvest. I actually wanted to harvest some of it today, which may be a pinch early. The blossoms are there, but they're not open enough, so the rain is keeping me from doing it until maybe they're ready, so in a few days. But I wanted to show you some quilts that I've done. I know people like to see the quilts, but before that I thought I would show some sweaters that I haven't shown. These were all published in Cast On magazine. It's an online magazine affiliated with the Knitting Guild Association. So to get these patterns right now, this is a child's sweater this is a size 8, but it starts at, I think, a size 2, 4, 6, 8, probably, maybe 10. Eventually I'll have this on my site, or what I'd like to do is put more on Ravelry. If you're a knitter, I'm on Ravelry at Sarah Louise, SARALOUISE. So eventually these will be on Ravelry. They're not quite there yet, but they are on the cast on site. So you have to have a membership. Isn't this cute? I just think this is darling. I went with these bright red buttons. I could have done a more neutral, but against this sort of maroon burgundy color, I just think they're a fun pop for a children's sweater. So this was not too hard. If you're a little bit afraid of stranding or color work, really not too hard. And then the sweater that I just recently got back, it's in their issue right now. This is a sweater for me for the winter time. It's a nice, big, cozy, comfy sweater. I've got just a little bit of a hint of a second color there. But what it is some nice ribbing separated by this garter ridge in cream. And then overall, it's sort of a Trinity stitch. It's not exactly a Trinity stitch. I've forgotten what it's called. I think a raspberry stitch. And it's actually quite open. It's very breathable, very comfortable. You can see, there's openings in here. So it's not really, really tight. You're not going to feel like you're wearing armor. And I designed this in case I live where it's cold. I'm still debating where to live eventually in my forever home. And I may stay here. I may go back up to New York, New England. The newest possibility is maybe Michigan. So, I tend to wear sweatshirts in the wintertime, and I would like to wear more of my sweaters. So this one will be perfect just by itself. It's a nice soft cascade yarn, but with a nice cozy turtleneck underneath it, it'll be grand for the cold weather. So that's it for the sweaters. Right now I've cast on for another, and this is kind of a really neat pattern that I found. It's really neat. You can see these ribs. They're open ribs, and the way that you get that is you knit on the wrong side rows. You just knit across every wrong side row. So of course, you're going to have a little purl bump on the right side row. And what you do is on these ribs, you knit into the row below. Some people call that knitting into the grandmother stitch, the mother stitch, the grandmother stitch, that sort of language. So you just go one row below, knit into that, and that will bring the knit stitch kind of up and appearing. And then in between, you've still got the pearls. So I just thought it was brilliant. And you use purl two togethers, and that's what kind of gives it this fun shaping, where it kind of goes, it swoops. So this is going to be for the body. And then the sleeves, I think I'm just going to do in the straight ribs. So the mock neck, the mock turtleneck, or crew neck, whichever I decide to do, and the sleeves will be more of a straight, and then the body will flow. Hopefully that'll be nice. This is the same cascade yarn. And right now, like I said, I'm not really doing much designing, so I have just gotten the numbers for the size that I want to make for myself, and I'm going with that. So we'll see if my inspiration comes back, if there's any interest. I'm kind of tired of doing this for everyone else and nobody seems to be interested. So I'm being very selfish now, and I'm just doing it for myself. And if anyone is interested, just let me know, and I can grade the pattern into a variety and publish it on Ravelry. So I also wanted to show you what I'm also working on. This is going to be a sort of a lumbar pillow that I'm working in needlepoint. So we've got some Bargello. We've got some, this is a pretty cool pattern. It's 3 different colors of green. And then we've got another fun one. So I'm kind of doing it in log cabin block. I'm not done with this one, so this one's going up to here, and then I'm gonna go over and then down and then over, and so it's kind of my, at the end of the day, sort of just watching TV, or at the start of the day before I've gotten interested in anything. This is the needlepoint that I'm doing, and it's on needlepoint canvas, but I'm using pearl cotton. And I wanted to show you, this is the way that I do my pearl cotton. You take the hank, it's a circular, you untie where it's knotted, and you snip. And then you go to the other end and you snip that, and this is the length that you get, which is a good length. The natural impulse is to do twice as long, and then you'll have it longer, but it wears away. It really gets sort of beat up and used. So you don't want pearl cotton or embroidery floss or anything like that that's not at its peak. It'll get thin, it'll get pilly. So this is really the length that you should be using, which makes it easy. And then what I like to do is just braid it, and that way I can just pull one strand as needed, and it stays nice. So that's what I'm working on there. Now, for what you're all probably here for, quilts. This is a quilt that I don't think I showed. I washed it today, so I thought, I think I'll show this. This is one that I did many, many years ago. It's kind of small, just a very small lap size. It's good for the end of a bed, little kids, maybe cats, maybe a dog. Just, you could throw it on a table. It could be more of like a table. What happened was I had this fabric, and I did this design, and I really loved it. I love the way the colors are, just loved everything about it. But I couldn't find any more of the original fabric. I think it was this blue. It's not that unusual, a fabric, but I couldn't get it in the same tone, the same size pattern, and I tried making some other blocks that I could mix in, and it just didn't work. So what I did many, many years ago, I just sewed it together, and that was the end of that. So, but I still love it. Still love it, and it's one of these that stacks very nicely. When you've got a nice stack of quilts, it's one of the good ones that can add color to your location. Now, I didn't think I was really a tan kind of person, but I just finished. This was my William Morris quilt, and you see this is in tan also, and I love them both. They're slightly different tans, but they still kind of work. So I thought I would show this to you. What I did was diagonals just through the tan squares, just a series of diagonals. I didn't want the cross, I didn't want to cross them. I think this is enough quilting for the purpose. And then I went through and I did some quilt in the ditch, some stitch in the ditch to sort of separate this block from this block. So I've got a row down there. So if you see on the back, you've got the diagonals, and then you've got these. And I kind of like it. It's enough. It's enough quilting. And to show you the colors, it's really lovely, I think. Very, very lovely. I've got a big cluster of color there, and then I go a little bit where there's not too much color. This was a William Morris layer cake that was on sale. It was the last one at the quilt shop. They were trying to get rid of it. I love William Morris designs. So I bought it in a second. I just love these patterns. So I wanted the squares big enough that I could see the pattern, but I wanted it to stitch up quickly enough that it wasn't, too much of an ordeal. And got a cat down there that's pulling. But yeah, I just love it. I love it. This is one of my favorites, and it's a really good size. I'll fold this in half. So it's a good good lap size, but it's also quite long. So as you can see, it's good to put on the end of a bed. It's going to be great in the wintertime. That's primarily what I'm going to use it for in the wintertime, to keep on the sofa. And I can just cuddle under this. It's kind of thick. It's this tan is substantial fabric. So, and it's on the back too. I have it on the back, and I just looped it over to the front, turned it over a few times, quilted it down. All the quilting and the binding is all done by hand. The only thing that I do by machine is the piecing. But all in all, I love it. And if I ever decide to cross more of the tan or go the other way, I've done these between the squares one way, but not the other way. I can always just pick it up and quilt for a few days. I think this took me about 2.5 weeks to quilt. My finger was very, very sore. It's still a little bit sore. It's hard now. It's calloused, but it was being torn every single day and very, very sore. But I just really wanted to finish it. So I have, and now I'm very happy. And the last quilt that I have to show is the little granddaughter's quilt. It's now all done too. So for the binding, I just went with another fabric. This is just a very nice green. It's sort of between this green and on the back, it still looks nice. I mean, you've got a darker green and then this lighter green. I really, really like it. There's a cat inside of it. He likes it too. So there it is, all done. And what I did was I put the stars or flowers, whichever way you think of these, in the empty blocks, but then I expanded them out into the border. I was going to do half in the triangle and then do more of a, a feather or a cable or something in the, but I thought, this is so simple. I just would rather keep it the way it is. So here it is. So I just really like it. I hope she likes it. There it is on the back. You've still got the flowers and you've got somewhat of a grid. So all in all, very successful. I love the colors. The colors have special significance. So that's why I went with the pink, the blue, and the green. But I just really, really like it. She's going to be turning 1 at the end of June. So yay, I've got it done for her first birthday. And, she's one of these kids that she doesn't really need a quilt yet. She's well covered up. It's going into, the warm time of the year. She's got this, it looks like a blanket sleeper, but I guess it's weighted. And she got out of the snuggle thingy, that kept her in there like a straitjacket. And she wasn't sleeping very well. So they put this weighted suit thing on her, weighted blanket sleeper, and it does the trick. She gets that on and she says, oh, okay, time for sleep. I wish it was that easy for us. So that's what I've been doing. I've been stitching, I've been cleaning, painting, sprucing up, gardening, still doing ballet, walking, reading, trying to enjoy life, trying not to put too many demands on myself, because I think I was putting too many demands on myself. So, yeah, so I'm going to finish my needlepoint pillow. I'm going to keep working on my sweater, and quite possibly it's time to start another counted cross stitch design. And I also have the log cabin quilt. Now it's number 1 in the queue. So it's just the quilt top so far. What I need to do is look to see what kind of batting I've got. I think I have enough for this. And then I have to get the backing fabric out. I mean, easy enough, but I just haven't done it yet. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to pin it or baste it, because I do both. And I kind of like to pin it because it's smaller, and I don't want all the holes in it from basting, because it's got the white on white fabric. And what I find sometimes when you stick a pin in the white on white, the pin mark doesn't really go away that easily. So I think I'd like to pin it, and then I can ensure that the pins are in the darker fabric. Not sure how I want to quilt it, because this quilt that I did is kind of all straight lines, and I was going to do straight lines in the log cabin, but I'm kind of tired of straight lines, so I'm not sure how I'm going to quilt it yet. I might do a design in the white portion. I haven't decided yet, so it requires staring. If you ever see a crafter that's just sort of staring, they're not bored, they're not with their heads in the clouds, they're not thinking about nothing, they're planning. What should I do with this project? And trying to envision every possibility. So I still have some of that to do. Maybe when the days are very lovely, I'll just be staring at the flowers or the sunshine and thinking, what should I quilt on that log cabin? So, and I also have the next quilt top to sew. I've been thinking about doing the Barnstar quilt. I think that's the name of it. I'm sorry, I always get the name of the book wrong, but I've been thinking about doing that for quite some time, but it hasn't happened yet. So that's an option. I also still want to go through all of my stash fabric and get together some sort of a, not a crazy quilt, not a sampler quilt, just using the different fabrics somehow. I haven't decided on which pattern or, I'm not sure yet. See, still thinking. I want to use all that fabric in some capacity, whether it's using a little bit of everything or knocking out 6 or 8 of the main fabrics. I haven't decided yet. So, see, a lot of thinking is involved. So, whilst I'm knitting and doing my needlepoint, I'll be thinking about that too. So, that's all I've been doing for right now. I came to you in the wintertime when it was very cold. Now it's mid to getting on to our late spring here in Virginia. And we'll see what pops up. I might knit some cotton tees, or I kind of like this length sleeve. Even in the summertime, I'm very sensitive about my arms. I don't know. I've got the old lady thing going there, and so having a tee that's got like a cap sleeve or something just doesn't do it for me. So maybe some sort of a elbow length sleeve on a cotton, maybe a lacy sweater, maybe just a simple stockinette. Lots of things in the works. So I will be back. Please leave your comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know, do you want more tutorials? A few people really loved my knitting tutorials, but on the whole, not very well watched at all. It was mainly the quilting people were interested in, and I don't know if that's because it just wasn't getting out to the right people or what. Let me know if you want day in my life kind of thing. Let me know if you want to go on more walks. Let me know if you want to hear about fibromyalgia, getting older, navigating life alone, you know, that sort of information. Let me know. Let me know what's on your mind. Let me know what you like watching, the good, the bad, maybe not the bad. Spare my feelings. But I will be back. Um, it's good to be talking to you again, and I hope I've inspired you in some small way. I'll catch you next time. Keep your angel close by. We all need angels near us. So have a good one.